evening, you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to a brand new, on the new 2023 Third and Long podcast. New year, same me. I am Phil Parents. Joined with me as always is Mr. Butler Henderson and little baby Hope. And gents, what a great weekend of NFL action. Like, genuinely, it was just great game after great game. And
yeah, it was 3.5 hours of a great game, then 3.5 hours of torture. But
I mean, I was going to say, I did not for the 49ers game. I did not. We'll get onto that. I mean, maybe if John joins us in the chat a little bit later on as we talk about the Raiders and the 49ers. But I didn't enjoy that game. But for the neutral, I'm guessing they were like over the moon about him. So, should we start talking about the first game of the week, which was Thursday's game, where the Cowboys took on the Titans.
Yes, and the Titans decided to ruin the game before the game even started by resting all their good players.
Standard.
Sorry,
standard, mate.
Sorry, let me rephrase. Resting their good player.
It was so bad. Although, saying that, Josh Dobbins played well.
Josh
Dobbs. I don't think he did a lot. Yeah, that shows how much I know his name. I don't think he did a lot wrong, to be fair.
No, Dobbs played okay. He didn't play exceptionally like a certain backup Raiders quarterback did, but he played okay. He made the throws. He found the man, and to be honest, the receivers didn't help him.
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, they don't really have receivers there, do they? It is Derrick Henry and occasionally someone else.
Yeah.
Occasionally, they might throw to Robert Woods once.
I mean,
good evening, John.
Evening, John. We'll get to the big game in a minute. We're in about half an hour.
We mentioned the pod lot of times before about like how incredibly one-dimensional the Titans are, and they're now looking to. Well, I mean, the Jaguars are just absolutely red hot. I did say at the beginning of the season I think the Jaguars would make the playoffs, but the Titans are just devastatingly below average. Like they are. You take Derrick Henry out of that starting 11 on that offense, and they are a nothing side. Absolutely nothing side.
Ollie, I know you think Vrabel's going if they don't make the playoffs, but I think the Tannehill injuries brought him another year.
Maybe. I mean, they have had a lot of injuries this year, O-line and D-line. The only place that's been anywhere safe is the secondary by the looks of it. But they fired the GM, 5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So it's obviously that was the main casualty that had to go. If you trade away A.J. Brown and don't have a ready-made backup there to go, then that's something to go. I mean, Treylon Burks, he's had 2 or 3 injuries, a couple of concussions this season, which isn't good. And he's not been able to have that momentum, a.k.a. Christian Watson up in Green Bay, who's gone from strength to strength every week he's played. So, yeah, that's that casualty. They've really got to build some offense, some weapons there to give Tannehill a chance.
Yeah.
But then again, Tannehill gets to playoffs and fail like he always does.
I mean, Tannehill is in that same bracket as, and I guess when we talk about Derek Carr again a little bit later, he's in that bracket of he is a solid C-rated quarterback. Like, I mean, he got found out and thrown out of Miami pretty quickly, and they gave him chance after chance. I mean, didn't he get benched for Cutler, and they had to bring Cutler out of retirement?
Yes. Pretty much.
That's how bottom of the barrel Tannehill was seen in Miami. Now, Miami have their own problems now going forward, but Tannehill will only get you so far, and Derrick Henry will only carry your team so far until the engine breaks. So
I just want to go back to it was about a year ago. It was before the divisional round of playoffs, and I said something about quarterbacks, which I've been back to a lot. I said there's 2 types of quarterbacks in the NFL. If you boil it down to it, there are ones that can make plays that win you the game, and there are ones that you just hope don't lose you the game.
You said that. You said that this season as well when we were talking about Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I think there is in that category. There is only 4 or 5 quarterbacks in this league who you hope will win you the game, and that's Mahomes, Allen, Burrows.
Yeah, but at that point, when the divisional round, Rodgers was still playing well, so I had Rodgers in there. Stafford had a season like no other. And I can't even remember who the other quarterback was, but I remember the only two I had were that in the don't hope you don't lose the game. Oh, the other one was Brady. And it's the two I had in the hope don't lose the game were Garoppolo and Tannehill.
Yeah.
And lo and
How can you
behold,
get for the perennial playoff player for the last 20 years?
lo and behold, Tannehill lost the game for the Titans in the divisional round, and then Garoppolo arguably lost the game for the Niners in the conference game.
There's no argue.
Yeah.
So
It's mad.
It's again going back, and as I said, Tannehill is still one of those quarterbacks that you hope doesn't make 2 or 3 boneheaded decisions in a game which cost you it. But I do think he is better than Malik Willis or Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
and that's just how poor the Titans' depth roster is.
Yeah.
Oh, all day long.
They need CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, or Will Levis. Maybe we're going a bit deeper, Hendon Hooker, or maybe even Spencer Rattler, somebody like that.
I mean, they might even go
Caleb Williams next season. It'll be Caleb Williams next season.
I mean, they'll probably get him into free agency as well. I mean, if they get a new GM, I mean, I don't know what the cap space is without looking, but you'd assume that they hit the free agent market to try and redeem themselves after this season, because if it's looking like they're not going to get into the playoff for a playoff berth, that is a massive kick to that organization, because they have been dominant in their division for quite some time now.
It's funny you mentioned Caleb Williams, Ollie, because I was actually watching the Cotton Bowl earlier, which was USC, and he was balling out. And as John said, those QB are game winners, but they're only as good as their receivers too.
But you say that, but with Brady, I mean, we can talk about Brady's receivers. I mean, yeah, he had Wes and he had Edelman, but did Brady have top tier receivers? Did Rodgers have top tier? I mean, we can talk about Devontae Adams, which we will later, but I mean, and then even Peyton Manning. I mean, Manning.
Yeah, John makes a good view. He did always have Gronk.
Yeah.
And play.
And we seem to have technical issues with Phil.
I mean,
sorry, boys, I cut out there for a second.
So, looking at cap space for Tennessee next year, we seem to have an issue with Phil's signal. He keeps bouncing. Cap space next year, Tennessee in issues. They're minus 16 million. Yeah, then you look at Chicago Bears, whose cap space is 119 million going into next season.
How much do you have all the lists up there?
I do. I'm on Sports Tack at the minute.
Yeah. Well, what's the Falcons? What's the Falcons? Because I know they're freeing up like
68.
Because I know they had like 62 million of dead cap space this year.
They'll have 68 million. New York Giants have 56. Most of that's going to go on Barkley and Dan Jones review today. Let's roll on to Sunday Night Football. I'll get my game over the way because it is literally the next one on the list. We're still in the playoffs, despite all you lot writing us off last week saying, Miami going to beat us, Miami going to beat us, Miami going to beat us.
And if it wasn't for Skylar Thompson having to come in, they would have done.
No. We our defense in that second half was brilliant.
I'm sorry, the amount of chances Miami had, and if they had a competent quarterback in, they would have taken one of them.
Our defense was lights out yesterday. Our defense was absolutely lights out. Let's remove one Phil and add another Phil back in. Our defense yesterday was brilliant. I mean, Carl Duggar with his third pick six of the year.
I mean, Hutchinson's got 3 picks, and he's a D lineman. It's not that good.
Yeah, but he hasn't scored 3 touchdowns.
I mean, you worship Carl Duggar though, and he's not that good.
I am a big Carl Duggar fan.
But as John does make a good point saying the pick six was the game changer for the Pats.
It was a great, and I love the stiff arm on Teddy Bridgewater to finish it off as well. But I mean, Jonathan Jones yesterday with the the tip drill on it. I mean, if it wasn't the Patriots, I'd have had that as a catch of the week because it was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean,
he's an ex-wide receiver as well.
Yeah. The fact that you did this without 3 of your top 4 corners was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle had less than 40 yards. Tyreek Hill had hardly any receptions. We locked those two down. As I said to you in the chat earlier on in the week, Belichick finds a way to stop players.
However, I do think you're going to get waxed by Buffalo next week, and the Jets will get waxed by the Dolphins, and then you won't make the playoffs. If you and the Dolphins both win, who makes the playoffs?
We do. We're in the 7th seed. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting yesterday. Our offense wasn't perfect. It was nice seeing Tyreek Fortin getting a few plays. It was Hunter Henry getting a lot of snaps as well. I'm still really fed up with first down, third and long. I'm going to run it straight into the middle of the O-line where there's no gaps.
As John says, you struggle with the receivers much like Green Bay did to the Vikings.
Yeah. I want to get to about that because I want to talk about some brilliant shithousery from Jay Alexandra all week.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about the shithousery in the Falcons game and mainly by the Falcons Twitter and how I thought it was a bit classless, but we'll get to that.
Very, very quick, we'll close like that. One thing I noticed, Judon didn't rush a lot, Uche didn't rush a lot. It was mainly Barmore, Guy. It was the 3 big guys. Didn't rush that much. They dropped more into coverage to stop those receivers. It was really, really good game show. And take my hats off to Belichick. Take my hats off to Steve Belichick as well, his son, who is calling defensive plays. Schemed up a good play for Miami.
Speaking of
them doing what they need to do.
Speaking of Judon Ollie, after next week, you're going to owe me 15 quid instead of 10.
We did 10. Behave. Anyway,
yeah, but
let's roll
you're still
on.
Going to owe me the Bosa over Judon money.
Let's get on to Falcons because you did say about that, and then we're going to jump over that one quickly because that was a nothing loss game.
The Falcons tweeted at the end, "That's how you make a game-winning field goal in Mercedes-Benz Stadium," and I just thought it was a real unneeded swipe at Ohio State because obviously the day before Ohio State in the Peach Bowl, the kicker missed a game-winning field goal at the end. But I just thought it was a bit classless from the Falcons to make a massive swipe at Ohio State. And if I was a teammate of the kicker, I don't think I'd want to go to the Falcons if they drafted me after that.
No. Would we see another Rivers, Eli Manning type thing on draft day where they switch teams? Excuse me.
Yeah, the Falcons beat the Cardinals with a game-winning field goal by 2. And I think that is the final nail in Cliff Kingsbury's coffin. Moving swiftly on.
Well. Justin Fields needs help. I mean, they've got the most cap space in Chicago. But yeah, Bears absolutely destroyed them. Jared Goff is looking like if he'd played like this all season, he'd be an MVP category, and their running backs are brilliant.
I mean, the Bears have a top 5 pick this year, don't they, at the moment?
They are currently, actually, I think they're 6th. I think LA Rams are currently holding the 6th spot. Let me just
top 10 pick then. I'm talking about the Bears here, not the Lions.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you think I think that's a good enough place to pick up a top quality wide receiver?
Oh God, yeah. To go alongside Brown and Chalk, yes.
Somebody like maybe Hyatt or that guy that scored the touchdown for Michigan that got called back when it was a touchdown.
Oh, Wilson.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. So Lions are currently picking 6th at the moment.
So yeah,
behind Texans, Bears, Seahawks, Cardinals, Colts, and Lions.
You said Bears twice then.
Yeah, because they might have multiple. They've got multiple picks.
Where's the
Texans, Bears, Seahawks, Cardinals, Colts, Lions.
I'm asking about the Bears. I'm asking about the Bears.
The Bears are picking at 2. The Bears are picking at 2.
then that's definitely good enough to get a wide receiver.
Oh god, yeah. Interesting thing is, if they lose and Texans win, Bears pick a number 1.
And then
Texans are obviously.
that's definitely good enough to get a wide receiver then.
My question is, if Bears pick at 1, they don't need a quarterback. One of these needy teams who need a quarterback are gonna. Can we have it? We'll have it, and we could end up a draft day scenario.
I mean, the start of draft day. I'm assuming the end won't happen.
You donut eating.
I want all my picks back and this player because I feel like it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Lions are now 1 win away against Green Bay to clinch the playoffs.
But they need
the playoffs.
They need a win and they need the Seahawks to lose.
They are currently holding the 7th spot, so as long as they win, they are in.
No, the Seahawks.
It's one of those winner-end.
The Seahawks are currently holding the 7th spot, so they need the Seahawks to lose.
It must have updated since I last looked at them because I looked at it last night. They were in the 7th spot. But yeah, it's fair brilliantly. Let's roll on to Denver.
Casey struggled here.
Was Nathaniel Hackett the issue? Because Russell Wilson looked a lot better.
He did.
Can I say, like, before we talk about the Broncos for a second, did anybody catch Patrick Mahomes' pass that hit the defender? He caught it, extended the play, and then threw it. Oh my god!
I'm wondering, does that count?
I actually hate him.
Does that count as a reception?
I don't know.
Because surely it has to be counted as a pass attempt. And also, is it a breakup for the defender? Like, is it a PBU for the defender?
I don't know, but I saw someone on the Patriots pages go, Mac Jones isn't a bad quarterback. He just doesn't have street smart quarterback abilities like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Josh Allen, like Joe Burrows, who look like they play in the street. They're playing the street and they decide to do things. That was, I'm playing the street. I've quick thinking, bang, and I'd love watching Patrick Mahomes. He's a really, really, and that play literally just pinged up on ESPN. He is a really good quarterback, and he made that play. But yeah, Kansas weren't brilliant at all. They moseyed their way in. Obviously, they could still get the number 1 spot depending on tonight's result. They're not going to be resting any players next week.
Neither will the Bills because they need to win to enjoy it.
It's gonna be one of those things. Obviously, if the number 1 is going to be out of question, and all that, teams are going to rest players because they're going to go on to the bye week. They're not going to have a bye week. It's only going to be one team. It's going to be really interesting next week's games. Really, really interesting.
I mean, I don't think it's going to matter because I reckon the Bills can probably rest their starter second half because it will already be over.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, if it's anything like the playoffs last year.
But we kept them within 1 score this year.
Is it in Buffalo? Is it in Buffalo or New England?
It's in Buffalo.
Okay, yeah, you're screwed.
Time will tell. Time will tell, my friend. New York Giants, first time they've scored their playoff spot since 2016.
Yeah, since that infamous pitch that was taken on a boat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
which is mad.
I like the Giants, and I'm happy they made it. I mean, I think we need to skip over this game because I can't even remember who they were playing, but they were very poor.
Indianapolis.
And Jeff Saturday's only won 1 game.
But I think we should probably talk about Kayvon Thibodeau's slightly disrespectful celebration.
Yes.
I think I will say that I don't think he'd realised he'd injured Foles until he got back up.
Yeah.
But I mean, lineman, protect your guy, protect your quarterback.
Yeah.
The fact is that no one went to him. Oi, he's injured. Get your ass up from either side, which is a bit of an issue.
As John said, I'm happy for the Giants and the coach. Yes, I'm happy that Brian Dable's done well too. And
Oh,
but
God.
I mean, you don't need to give him a Gatorade shower because you made the playoffs. You do that if you've won the Super Bowl, not the playoffs.
Yeah.
Anyone have a bet on it? It was purple. If anyone's interested.
No, I only bet on that at the Super Bowl.
Do you bet on the coin toss? I can never say that word. Coin toss and everything.
No, I just tend to do the Gatorade color.
You were like Barney on How I Met Your Mother. I even got that one wrong. I got every sequential bet wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I won 98 quid yesterday, so I'm happy.
You are very happy about that.
Very, very good. I had a couple of good weekend.
Bolton won today. Niners won yesterday. Won 98 quid on the football. Everything's coming up me. Just pity I have to go back to work tomorrow.
Danny Jones, though, had a good game. Ran through for 2.
They need to get that man signed.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a decent amount of cap space. Him and Barkley, the rumours are they are going to be signed. I don't know the rules is if they've not been given their 5th-year option, if they're allowed to play under a franchise tag.
Ooh.
I don't know that rule.
They can, I think. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but then why wouldn't you give them that 5th-year option? Especially Barkley. It's just strange.
Well, have they not given Barkley his 5th-year option?
No. Neither of them got a 5th-year
They're
option.
not? Ooh.
No. Hold on, is Barkley's? They don't need to pick up Barkley's 5th-year option yet.
Oh no, he's in his 5th year, isn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot because he missed a whole season through injury.
Yeah. But I know they didn't pick up Jones, which was a really bad decision, just like the Raiders did with
Really
Jacobs.
strange.
I mean, that's like I'm gonna say. That's look at it here. Like if Jones doesn't stay in Giants, he was basically on his way out this year at the beginning of the season. Like it was. Yeah. The Giants were not expected to do anything again, and he was going to be hung out to dry. He's bald this year. He's played exceptionally well this year, and again. We're going into an off-season where if the Giants or he doesn't agree for an extension or whatever happens in the off-season, there's going to be quarterback needing teams that are going to look and go, he's actually a lot better than we thought we were, or thought he was.
Oh God, yeah.
Again, we're looking at teams like the Saints, the Commanders, the Texans, maybe not the Raiders anymore, but the Jets, the Seahawks. They're teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback, and he could be one of them.
Well, if you take Barkley and then you take the best running back Nick Bosa ever played against, that would be scary.
But you have to remember that they're still being owned and coached and developed and played in the silver and black.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bosa did say that Jacobs was the best running back.
And he is. Like Marcus Allen was great for the Raiders in the 80s. Yeah. But if you have a piss poor organization.
But I mean, John, you still need to re-sign Jacobs because you didn't pick up his video option.
That's what I was getting confused. I want to say Daniel Jones has contributed to 22 touchdowns for New York this year.
Wow.
7 with his legs.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't think that. Yeah.
Despite we saw him run for 85 yards a couple of years ago and falling on the 10-yard line.
That's still funny.
Was it at Georgia or I said I can't remember when I put in a video who did exactly the same with wide receiver, tripped with about 10 yards to go, and in the college balls. I mean, he's thrown for 3,200 yards. He's only had 5 interceptions this year. He's the 9th. He's played really well, Danny Jones, and he deserves that contract. He really, really does. Should Eagles be playing in purple, to quote my fellow friend below? Because they are seriously choking.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You can't blame it all on Minshew, brother.
Yeah, but you can blame some of it on Minshew.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, was it like they made no third down conversions?
They had 1 touchdown, which was the 86-yard AJ Brown. No, the.
No, but they brought up on red zone like the actual Eagles stats of the game, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was something like they didn't make any third down conversions.
Literally, that 86-yard touchdown was their only piece of offense.
Yeah.
You guys are still here trying to bang the Minshew drum, and he's just not a good quarterback.
Well, I mean, all right, let's get up his stats for a second, mate. Because
we had this.
I think he's way too hard on our Minshew mania.
We had this discussion 2 weeks ago. We had this discussion last week. We'll have this discussion this week. His stats are good because I don't even know why, but he's not a good quarterback.
What?
I mean, watch last week.
They're so good.
Watch last week and tell me.
These stats are good, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
People like,
because-
we have this argument about like stat padding for years, and you tend to find this on bad teams. Well, like Matt Stafford, his stats are amazing. He played in an horrendous Detroit Lions team. Was he part of the team that went 0-16?
No. They drafted him because of that season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, Minshew was really good in Jacksonville, but they made the option to improve to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, and we're going to see him for years and years to come. Minshew is in that C-level category of quarterbacks that we
He's
mentioned.
not. He's
good
below
quarterback.
that.
He's a good quarterback.
Watch yesterday's game and tell me that Minshew's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback, but he also hasn't played all season.
Minshew is not a good quarterback. There's a reason he's been basically a career backup.
Right, Minshew or Wentz? Who would you take?
Probably of those two, probably Minshew. But I am very low on Wentz.
Yesterday, he got sacked 6 times, which
That's
is the most
O-line.
any Eagle got sacked, which is more than Jalen Hurts got sacked this year. It's the most sacks Eagles have given up this season. He got hit 28 times yesterday, which is also the most the Eagles have been hit this season.
But Burrows gets sacked 6 times a game and still plays well.
I mean, Brock Purdy got nailed so much yesterday, but he just extended plays.
You know, it just shows that Saints have got nothing to play. Well, technically, they haven't got anything to play for now, but they didn't know that they needed the win to win out to get in.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't say that Minch is still a bad quarterback. He got hit a hell of a lot yesterday. He got hit. Yes, his rating is at an 82. He's an 82 rating.
I'll make a wager with either of you right now that Minshew will get a deal next year with a team that already have an established quarterback, and he'll be a backup next season.
He'll be in Vegas next year, 100%. I guarantee he'll be in Vegas next year.
He'll be a backup next year.
Hell, he might be in...
As he tore you apart yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto that a little bit later.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, the Eagles have to win that number 1 spot. It is closing up on them. They're only 1 game ahead now.
I think
Cowboys win, they're in.
I think the big thing is whether Hurts is healthy next week or whether they play the joke artist.
I reckon, personally, if I was Philadelphia, you're in the playoffs. Don't worry about it now. You are one of the better teams in the NFL. You are struggling. You are choking a bit. You are, we're going to make it. We're going to do it. Can't finish it.
Do you think this makes a difference? Like John said, they were playing well until everyone realised.
Yeah, I really do.
People should be talking about the Cowboys more because the Cowboys are frighteningly high in the win-loss category.
I think it is true. I personally would rush Jalen Hurts. They're in the playoffs. Give him an extra week. If you get a bye, brilliant. He's got 4 weeks off to heal that shoulder. Superb. Exactly what he needs. If not, you could risk getting that shoulder blown out even more, and then risk your season decapitating quicker than the Titanic goes down. That's my personal opinion. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer.
Oh, without a shout, without an absolute shout.
Yes, but he's my premier receiver in a fantasy football league, and because he forgot how to play for about 5 weeks, that cost me a Super Bowl run.
Oh, is that in mine? In ours?
On
MLF?
Yeah, that's the one.
So I mean, he's already had 1,000 yards again this season. For the 9th year in a row, he's had over 1,000 yards in receivings. His guy is absolutely brilliant. His game yesterday was, and I'm trying to find it, 10 receptions from 12 targets with 207 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And all were pretty much very similar plays. He burnt the DB every single time, and he's not the quickest of wide receivers. He's a good route runner, but he's not a quick wide receiver.
Yeah, I believe MCCMC here has got him for catch of the week and play of the week, does he not?
It's true.
He certainly doesn't know. Talk us more through Mike Evans, CMC, MCCMC.
In terms of like the whole play, I mean, when he made it was his first touchdown that I really caught my attention because he's one of those wide receivers that I genuinely take for granted when I'm not watching him, because when you watch him, you realize he's I wouldn't say he's big like in terms of height wise, but he's absolutely massive. Like he's an absolute unit. He's rock solid. And he's built a bit like Kittle in that respect, where he goes out. He's quite thick, and he's absolutely rapid as well. So when he dropped back for that touchdown, I mean, he's not just like wrestling past the corner. He's not just wrestling past the safety as well. It's then being able to get like 40 yards to then bring that in, because he's absolutely pelting it. And it was a great pass by Brady. Brady knew exactly where he was the entire game. It was amazing to watch. And I just think he just absolutely balled when they needed him to. And it seems like it's a recurring theme at the moment with the Bucs, where their players are starting to stand up when it actually counts for something now. They've gone through quite a lot of losing weeks, and now it's got, oh crap, we actually need to start winning again. And their big, more experienced players are stepping up, and Brady to Evans 3 times yesterday was an absolute treat for like the Bucs.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I took Brady as my player of the week.
Yeah.
And of course, this win clinched the NFC South for them.
I mean, GOAT proving he's GOAT. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that is Brady's 19th divisional title. 19th. 1-9. Most players don't even play for half of that amount in the league.
And he left his wife for this season as well. He left his wife to get that 19th.
Let's put that into context. Obviously, Brady at the start of the season had a lot of off-field issues. A lot.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. And I think that played a lot into what was going on in Tampa.
Yeah.
He could no focus on it. He was missing practices, which is unlike Brady. He was taking weeks off in preseason, which again is unlike Brady. And everyone was like, "Oh, he's done. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore." Blah blah blah. And I've just seen that punt again with the right where he really messed up. I think that was a brilliant play as well. And it just shows when Brady's focused, when Brady's on it, and it's football mind, no one gets close to that bloke.
No.
It's ridiculous.
He just has that. He's on this pedestal that I don't think any NFL player ever is on. And it's almost like when he's on the field, like that Superman cape comes on. He suddenly turns, even though he's wearing red, he suddenly becomes gold. And players around him just become better. It's watching that. It's 1 minute left on the clock. The Bucs are down by a score. Brady's got the ball on his own 20. You know he's going to go far. Yeah. Like know in that minute he's going to get 8.
Brady seems to change in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
it's in win mode.
Because I think they were down by 10 in the last quarter.
Yeah. And he's in that quarterback mold where, when we talk about clutch, and we talk about and I'll talk about a Raiders legendary quarterback later on, like Kenny Stabler.
John does make a very good point. You can't forget Trent in that pedestal.
Oh my god! Well, they're on 2 different pedestals on 2 different sides of the world, mate. To be fair,
just the 2 of them, though.
but when you talk about in terms of clutch, and you go, there's Kenny Stabler from the 70s, Terry Bradshaw, Montana for 15 years.
I was about to say Joey Burrow.
Yeah, and then and you got maybe that Brett Favre, John Elway, Manning, both
Rodgers.
of them were clutch when they wanted
to. Rodgers never been that clutch in the fourth.
No, Rodgers Hail Marys, and he's just had some good tall receivers too. I mean, I would like to see his stats in terms of his final plays on games when he Hail Marys, how many he actually got touchdowns to interceptions.
I remember one Hail Mary he did. I think it was against the Giants at halftime. And Randall Cobb, the smallest receiver, caught it.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's move on to
Sorry.
Let's move on to Carolina. When Steve Wilkes took over, they were 1-4.
Yeah.
They were a laughing stock in the league. They trade away CMC. They trade this guy below to that guy.
And Robbie Anderson. Don't forget about Robbie Anderson.
And Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson's done nothing at the Cards, mind you. So that's
he's been injured for most of the season, hasn't
he? You know, yes, they've kept Brian Burns, who is massive for them.
DJ Moore's been,
but
a revelation
DJ Moore
too.
is brilliant, superb, and it's just a case of CMC's gone. Let's come out the shadows of that guy.
Donald,
but give Steve Wilkes the job.
Yeah, Donald is not the problem.
No.
Donald is proving that he's a starter in this league again, and he's relevant. I mean, they are drafting at the moment 10th. Don't think they're not going to take a quarterback there. They're going to take a wide receiver or one of the premium running backs in this league, or even possibly even a tight end could go. One of the top tight ends could go.
Jabari Small, is it?
Oh, what? The guy out of
Clemson.
Georgia. Is it Georgia or Memphis?
Clemson, isn't it?
Oh, I can't think. I'll have a look in a bit. But yeah, someone like that, or the guy at Tennessee. You're going to want after these premier wide receivers because that's what they need. Foreman, Hubbard. They're rushing. I think taking the game on.
I think Hubbard's okay to be a running back. I think wide receiver somebody to put with DJ Moore.
Yeah. I mean, they might even go cornerback to just really, help out their pass game.
Help out Brian Burns a bit.
It'd be interesting when we go around doing our mock drafts.
I'm actually excited about Joey Porter Jr. because he is absolutely quality.
Just an aside, I know it's a while away, but I am probably going to miss a few draft shows prior to and around the draft.
Okay, but we've got the XFL to look forward to.
He's in the pond, or across the pond. In the pond.
Hopefully, I'm going to be at an XFL game.
Reporting live for the 3rd and long.
Oh yes, love that one. You can take over the Twitter handle and drop all the tweets from there.
So you can get Dwayne. So you can get an exclusive with Dwayne.
How did Ron Rivera go into the game against the Browns not knowing if they lost, they could be eliminated?
How did Ron Rivera go into the game with the Browns thinking Carson Wentz was better than Taylor Heineke?
Yeah, especially since he's been so vocally criticizing Carson Wentz since the start of the season. Like, he's been very openly vocal to the media. And when a head coach does that, that's kind of like the end game for their career.
I think Ron's got to go this season. As you said, the fact that he didn't know that he got eliminated or could get eliminated, like, how would you not know that? Ron's got to go. I love the story. I love the fact that he beat cancer while coaching and all that, but it's time for him to go.
I think because he's not vocal against the ownership model of the Commanders, I think that will give him a lot more leeway to stay at least one more year. Like, genuinely, I mean, he's not said anything against the ownership of the Commanders, despite the many, many, many wrongdoings of that organization. And I think because he's not gobbed off, I think that might give him at least one more year.
He's not done a Scott Parker.
No, or I was actually thinking like every manager under Mike Ashley at Newcastle, where they said absolutely nothing. Then Rafa Benitez comes along, and then Mike Ashley went out of his way to make his life extremely difficult.
Phil, do you link everything to Newcastle?
Because it's my hometown team, mate. Of course,
it's like you link everything to 49ers.
That's what I can do, mate. That's what I can do. I mean, there's so many similarities in terms of we haven't been relevant since the 90s. We live off past glories.
It said something though. Going back to this sport, midway through the first quarter, the fans were booing Wentz and calling for Heineke.
Yeah.
They love this guy.
Yeah.
Why would you take him out? Obviously, it's gone. We've given away, paid XYZ to Wentz. We're going to have to play him. But if he's not good enough and he's not got the trust of the players, he's not the fans don't like him. Why? Is it to go right? This is your last chance, mate. And do they give Sam Howell a go now on
No.
next Sunday.
Play Heineke. If he's your starter next season, which he should be. I don't think he will be, but he should be. Play him.
I'm going to say one thing though. Whenever I saw Deshaun Watson do something on red zone, it was good.
Yeah, Deshaun did look good.
Which is a bit worrying. His QBR rating was 122.5.
I mean,
he only had 18 attempts. Admittedly, the defense did more of the work than anything else.
I was about to say, Washington's defense isn't that good. Was Chase Young even playing?
I don't think he was. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, I remember seeing his dreadlocks in it a couple of times. But no, he didn't. He didn't play many. Like FA was playing. FA Obeda was playing. That'd have been some story to have him back in the playoffs. But yeah, there wasn't a massive amount. He didn't play too much. I think they're slowly nursing him back in because he didn't have a lot of plays last week.
As John said, Watson looked good against the Commanders.
Yes.
Put him against a good defense, then I'll judge him.
Let's quickly go over to Texans, who are trying to be the number 1 seed, aren't they now?
Yeah,
with a lot of capital and a lot of cap space.
Yes.
I mean, they could do some serious business in the off.
Yeah, I mean, their cap space going into next season, they're 7th, and they've got 47 million worth of cap space going into it. Dead cap space of 900 grand, which is nothing, is it? Chicago Bears have 19 million cap space, dead cap space. It's
19 or 90.
19. But yeah, it just shows. Ryan Leaf. They had heard this earlier on, so they compared to the year that Ryan Leaf got picked, and he had one good season, and he got him picked number 2, and they compared him to Zach Wilson, and they compared to Comer, who went number 1 there, and they compared it to Trevor Lawrence, generational talent, brilliant second season.
I mean, it's funny you say that because Burrow's only had one good season, and look at him.
Agreed. Well, Burrow's moved to have a good season.
Yeah,
Burrow's had a good high school career, and he had games where he played.
In Ohio State, he got beat up by Justin Fields for the starter.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, though, is going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league.
Yes. Can we just go back to the Texans for a second?
Go on, then.
Is Lovie Smith going to still be in a job this time next week?
No, because of that's where a certain Harbaugh will be, I think.
Do you think Harbaugh's going Texans?
Yeah, 100%. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, depending on how the general managership and in terms of how they're going to really support him, Harbaugh's going into a team that has a ton of cap space, that has a lot of top high draft picks. That's. I mean, he's not been in the league now for what, nearly 8 years.
10. He finished in 2013, so 9 years.
Yeah. So he's won everything back at college level.
Oh no, sorry, 2014.
He's taken Michigan as far as he can take them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, John.
So he comes back in. He goes to the AFC. I mean, he goes to the Texans. It's a big project. I mean, he's still relatively young in terms of NFL age anyway. I mean, I could see him. I genuinely could see him back in the league next year at the Texans.
John, I think
I don't think he'll go to Indy. I don't think he'll go to Denver because I don't think he's going to want to touch that horror show in terms of resources. Houston, I'd put it down as almost a lock if I was a betting man.
John, I think the Texans, no matter what pick they have, will take a quarterback. I don't think they're sold on Davis Mills.
This is my argument with teams. If you are a team like Texans, like Indianapolis, who have got more holes than a calendar, using your phrase from last season, you build your team. You go, right, this number 1's up for grabs. Who wants it? Right, we'll give you this number 1 and get a team around it. Who's then in a couple of years' time, when you've built a team, then put this generational quarterback in.
Yes.
Because they've got a couple of years in league experience. You can have a few veterans added into the team. Then you do it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't taking a quarterback in the first round when you've got that many holes is a big issue because that lad's going to get absolutely destroyed for his first year.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, go on then. John wants to get involved in this one as well. I know he does.
All right. So, Ollie, do you want to
do you want to go first? Shall I go first?
You go first. You go.
So first off, the football gods let me down with that kick. I asked them to let go and make that kick. I agree with you, John. It was the game of the weekend. Stidham played a lot better than I thought he was going to. The Niners' defense was non-existent for the first half, apart from the goal line stand. Our offense, we were lucky it was close at halftime. The second half, our defense woke up. Our offense played well enough. Ollie's taking himself from off the stream. I'm just going
I didn't want to die.
Just make that good. And then Daniel Carlson making that 57-yarder was clutch. CMC had a game. Ayuk had a game. Kittle got another touchdown. By the way, can we just talk about that Kittle touchdown? Incredible for Brock Purdy keeping his eyes up to get into the end zone.
Yeah.
The Niners still, and I say still, can't guard Devontae Adams. Whenever he plays against us, it's like guaranteed at least 100 yards on a touchdown.
What was that play, though, where he was literally pretty much in the red zone on his own?
I don't know. I think what happened was Fred Warner thought he had safety help. Hufanga just decided to not bother to just play football.
I'll get onto that in a wee bit, yeah.
And Devontae Adams is a good receiver, and Stidham found him because Stidham had, I remember Stidham having 3 bad throws. One of them was the pick by Drake Jackson.
Oh my God!
Was that the one where Bosa literally drove the bloody lineman back into the ball went up in the air?
I'm getting to that one. There's one I just remember him just missing the receiver as a misread, and then the one that wasn't his fault because Bosa decided to just drive the right tackle into him as he threw. And I think, if I recall, the helmet of the right tackle hit Stidham's arm as he was throwing, and it went up in the air. Tayshaun Gibson returned it up to the 5-yard line, centered the ball. Robbie Gould straight down the middle, win the game in overtime. Mr. Perrins, do you want to expand on this?
Well, all right.
I'm going to interrupt. Fred Warner I think it was Fred Warner, literally tried to rip Hunter Renfro's head off at one point.
Yeah,
face marked and Hunter Renfro literally did a 360-degree spin.
To be fair,
that was scary. And that kind of thing has to be, yes, it's a flag. Yes, it got 15-yard penalties, but that thing has to stop because that could seriously injure someone now. The guy, Hunter Renfro, did a 360-degree spin off the ground. That kind of thing needs to have ejections from the game now. I'm not saying that because it's a Niners player or anything like that and anything to wind you up, but I just think it's something that's you see 3 or 4 times in the season where a player's face mask gets caught.
Yeah.
As he's running through the gap and he ends up doing a 360-degree spin, it's something that needs to stop, and it's something that the NFL needs to look at.
Yeah.
Carry on, Mr. Perrins. I'm sorry I interrupted.
I'm going to do my best mixture of being Skip Bayless, but also Shannon Sharp. Okay? All right. Let me tell you something. Watching the game last night and it was only when I was watching it because people say, "Oh, it's like Prime Montana was playing against the 49ers and Jarrett Stidham." I mean, it actually looked like it was Kenny Stabler, Raiders legend, taking on Brock Purdy's Joe Montana. It was actually really, really brilliant seeing these two relatively inexperienced quarterbacks. I mean, Stidham got drafted in 2019. He's only played 12 games in the NFL since 2019. Like
he never started in Foxborough.
I was about to say, I believe it was his first. I believe it was his first start this weekend.
It was his first start. So he's had appearances, but this was his. So in terms of how he played against San Francisco and DeMarco Ryans not being that prepared in that defense, there's no tape. There's no genuine tape on him, and he didn't play at all in the 2021 season at all. So this has been his. He's coming out and he's come over with McDaniels
Josh,
from
yeah.
New England.
As John said, two young gun QBs just slinging it.
And I mean, Fred Warner. I mean, I praised him on Friday night, and I do. I think very, very highly of Fred Warner. But Fred Warner was massively having a miss game.
Yeah, he did.
Thought, when you said about like quarterbacks that will win you a game, and then quarterbacks that you hope that won't lose you a game. That's what I was thinking in terms of how Fred Warner is playing. Hufanga, through various points this season, will go from showing why he's in the Pro Bowl to thinking he's some form of outside linebacker mixed with Troy Polamalu. Like he's always looking for like those last second kind of like tackles, and his blown coverage is why Devontae Adams almost like was moonwalking into the end zone for one of his touchdowns yesterday. I mentioned on Twitter last night, and I'm not going to go too much more into it, and I've just got a quote from Ayuk a little bit. That game last night needed to happen for both teams for numerous reasons. The 49ers, and I know that they came out victory, and I know it took us to overtime, and yes, the Raiders put up so many points and so many yards against the 49ers. That game needed to happen because what happens later on in the line in the playoffs now, or the championship game, or having been the Super Bowl, where the defense can't stop an offense. The offense now is going to have to ball. And we had these kind of concerns at the beginning of the season when Garoppolo came in. You know how I feel about Garoppolo, but Purdy had a consistent game where when you're winning and there's no pressure because your team are absolutely balling, it's a different mindset to then it's a close game. I need to score on this drive. I need everything to go right in this drive. And there's a quote from Ayuk last night where he said that Brock Purdy now is a leader in terms of being a starter. He's changing plays at the line of scrimmage. Like he's calling audibles. Kyle's sending plays in, and Brock Purdy isn't going from the script. He's now kind of like reading defenses. He's changing plays. Is he QB1 going forward? We don't know in terms of what will happen with Trey Lance, but we're winning. And Brock Purdy is not showing any signs of him being a rookie that's out of his depth.
Phil,
like,
have you seen the press conference?
No.
Because Purdy, Kittle, McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Bosa all said that we needed a game like that.
Yeah, and we're talking about like the 49ers needing it, but equally the Raiders, and I'm not bashing the Raiders. I've been saying all season they're going through troubles, and I really do like the Raiders. I love the history of the Raiders. I love the culture and everything around the Raiders, despite the dysfunctionality. But off the back of all this bad, negative vibes going through the team of them sending Carr home, bringing in Stidham, who's a complete unknown, and Devontae Adams being actively, vocally against the Raiders organization. And he has this game where Stidham balls. The offense balls. The defense, I mean, Max Crosby was kept relatively quiet, but the defense looked as solid as I've seen them for a while. And it was just a game where the 49ers needed that out of their system to prove that the offense can win them games instead of relying on their defense. But also the Raiders needed that to say, hey, Derek Carr's not here anymore. Life's not over. We can continue. Football will go on. Let's try Stidham going forward. And I just think that was I didn't enjoy the game. I put that on Twitter last night and we mentioned off air. I didn't enjoy that game whatsoever, but both teams needed it. Both teams needed it.
Right. 3 things before I go on. A, Trey Lance has had second surgery this week to have some hardware moved out of his ankle, which is standard.
Apparently he'll be on crutches for 2 weeks and should be fine before OTAs.
I'm not surprised Jarrett Stidham played that well. He's been in a Josh McDaniels scheme for the last 4 years in New England.
Yeah.
Well, 3 years in New England. 3 years in New England. He understands it. He knows the plays. Obviously he's had reps with the first teams. Obviously he knows if you put it down there, Devontae Adams will grab it 9 times out of 10. You can lean on Brandon Bolden, who's also been Josh McDaniels' offense for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You can lean on Josh Jacobs. You've got Waller. You've got Waller as well, who had another really good game. He had 72 yards. You've got Hunter Renfrow who's coming back. You've got these 3 reliable targets. I'm not reliable.
We cannot overestimate, right? Genuinely, when quarterbacks get drafted, and we talk about like them resting or sitting out a year. I mean, Stidham's 26, right? He's 26, so he's still relatively young. Since he's been drafted, he has played under Brady, with Brady, learning from Brady. He's also had Hoyer to learn from as well. Cam Newton came in there. We can talk about how washed up Cam Newton is. but Cam Newton at one point was an MVP. He got his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, he's played with Mac.
New England always said about Cam, his work rate was second to none.
Yeah.
His energy, everything about Cam was positive until he stepped onto the gridiron.
Anybody want to talk about this comment and this catch?
I do. John, the NFL refs, right, will say that is a catch. However, Isaac Newton, gravity, and every science teacher in the land will say that was not a catch.
It wasn't a catch.
Mike hands the ball. That's where it landed.
No.
From every image I've seen, is on his arm. Every image you see is on his arm.
But in terms of like a real feel-good story of the weekend, though, Drake Jackson, who the 49ers drafted last year, in the draft, is a diehard Raiders fan, and this was the first weekend that he was actually able to see his son play in the NFL. So he was in the stand, and he was half in his Raiders gear and half in a 49ers jersey with his son's name on the back, and he was cheering for the Raiders up until his son made that interception. He was going absolutely crazy.
I would just to shout out to Jake Jackson, the player. He's gone over the radar, but I think he's having a very good season.
I think he's quality. Honestly, I think he will eventually move into being a defensive tackle because he's just built that way. He's built like Armstead. I don't think he's an end. I think he'll move into tackle, but I think he's a quality accusation.
I think he will be an end. I think 2 years from now, our line will be Jackson, Kinlaw, Armstead, Bosa.
Oh, Kinlaw. Don't expect to see Kinlaw again.
Let's move on. Let's go on to... Let's briefly talk about New York. They're done and dusted now. They're out of the playoffs. I'm kind of shocked. I thought this team would be better than they are, especially these last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, the issue is they don't have a quarterback. That's the issue.
Yeah,
Mike White can flash, but not play well consistently. Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson. So
Emil Fenter. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only story he's done this season.
Yeah, his mate's mum. Yes.
I don't know. So without a good, even league bottom half quarterback, they're just. I don't.
There's going to be 1 or 2 players whose quarterback's going to end up there, and one of them's yours, and one of them's in the black and gold or black and silver. One of those two is going to be up in New York.
Garoppolo or Carr is what you're saying. Yeah. Garoppolo could go with Robert Saleh.
I can see Garoppolo in New York. I could also equally see Garoppolo in Houston. Like someone that will build a team around him.
Yep.
Actually, Indy. I can see him in Indy. Sorry, go on.
Green Bay are still alive, and I loved Jay Alexandra's absolute and utter shithousing. All week he's been talking about it. That game in week 1 where Justin Jefferson went 184 yards was a fluke. And I was thinking, yeah, whatever. You got outballed. You're just trying to believe it. But he backed up his mouth with an absolute superb performance and gridding on Justin Jefferson in the first quarter. Love that. Absolutely love that. Sorry, but
I really hope the Niners avoid the Raiders. Not the Raiders, the Packers in the playoffs, because the Packers are getting hot now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to face them. So I'm hoping the Lions win, the Lions beat them, and they're just out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was, so
as John says,
Justin Jefferson.
Fantastic shithousery.
Justin Jefferson was on for a near on 2,000 yard receiving year.
Mm-hmm.
He had 1 reception for 15 yards, and he almost smashed the helmet onto the back of the ref at the same time.
I mean, as somebody said, the Packers defense had more receptions than Justin Jefferson off Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was bad. I mean, Nick Mullins came in and had a better passer rating, and he had 4 passes for 57 yards, including a touchdown.
The interception machine, Nick Mullins.
Kirk Cousins had 3 picks. And let's talk about 105 yards. The kick return. 105 yards from
I mean,
Kayron Nixon. Is that how
I
you
mean,
pronounce
Phil,
his name?
you just read out your
Kayshawn Nixon.
you just read out your message that you sent in the chat yesterday. I mean, when it was 14-3, Rodgers hadn't even stepped on the field.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, what did I put? I have to find it now. I can't remember what I put now.
I know
did I put?
I know some. Was it the 14-3 and it doesn't involve me thing? Anyway, for the 105-yard touchdown, parting of the Red Sea of the defense, and the guy just ran through the middle.
Brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. I am just trying to find it. No. I put loins. No, 7 seed. Yeah, okay, that's right.
I mocked your spelling.
Yeah, you did. I generally can't find it. Did I put it on there? Or did I put it? I can't find it, which is a bit strange. Carry on while I find it.
Anyway, so yeah, Jefferson was pretty. Dalvin Cook was pretty anonymous too in this game. Couldn't get going, and I mean the Packers just totally outballed the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings generally could be one and done.
I was looking at this earlier.
Yeah,
the Vikings are 12-4, and they've scored 395 points and conceded 414. So the Niners have scored 20 more than the Vikings and conceded over 150 less. They've got to be one of the worst 12-4 teams that there's ever been.
Well, they've had 11 one-score victories this season, which is the most by any NFL team in the league.
They're 12-4 and they've conceded more points than they've scored this season. Yeah. I just can't wrap my head around that.
No, I mean, Kelly said all along, especially after they played us, that they are a poor team. And Green Bay found them out.
Shut down Jefferson,
they're second. You're
good.
Yeah. Because Phelan is a good quarterback. Cornerback, wide receiver, get it right in a minute. But he's a WR2. KJ Hobson isn't a bad one. TJ Hawkinson, they kept in quiet.
I mean, Cook is good, but I feel like to get for Cook to get going, you need to have Jefferson.
He had 34 scrimmage yards, Cook.
Yeah.
17 through the air.
Because to have Jefferson allows a play action, and when you have a play action, you can get some run going.
Yeah, all day long, and
it could be vice versa. You need Cook to get Jefferson going, but
yeah, I mean, Green Bay got hot at the right time.
Yeah, I really want to avoid them.
There was a couple of OGs up here who went for Green Bay to win.
Yes, me and you.
Yes, yeah, we got it right.
Phil, you went Minnesota.
Okay. Oh, I can't remember what I had. Devastating.
We'll put the predictions because I've been of it. I almost caused this show. Los Angeles belongs to Chargers.
I mean, do we really need to talk about this game? It was irrelevant to anyone.
Maybe. I almost called it up because Eckler, 122 yards with 2 touchdowns, leads the NFL in touchdowns this year, and Mike Williams is a human highlight reel.
Yeah.
I mean, the one-handed grab and turn is... I mean, we've had some brilliant catches this year. Pickett, there's been a couple other ones as well. Pickett springs to mind, and what's the other one?
Pickens.
Pickens.
The Jefferson one.
Yes, and the Jefferson one. We've had some brilliant catches this year. But yeah, that was up there. That was definitely up there. All day long. Chargers won 31-10. Baker, I remember seeing one play. Baker missed a wide open Cam Akers. But that was another, the cornerback slipped down and Cam Akers, he threw it in front of him. But yeah. Phil, take us away on Sunday Night Football as our resident Ravens fan is crying into his pillows.
I'm doing my absolute best, and I'm really, really sorry, Shannon, that I'm not intending to absolutely bury you.
No, John. Actually, it's been confirmed today that this is that the Rams have the most losses of any defending Super Bowl team.
And that includes the 2015 Broncos.
Yes.
Yes. Jesus Christ, yeah. I mean, they collapsed for multiple reasons.
Yes.
Mr. Perrins?
So, did anybody catch the image of Lamar Jackson on the sideline with his ski goggles on?
Yes.
No.
I have seen that.
Oh my God. So he looked like a rock star that had just come off the plane and was watching a team that he had heard about on the telly being good. Like, he did not look, other than being covered in Ravens paraphernalia, he looked like he did not want to be there. Like, he was just put there. He's got his ski goggles on. He's like, it just all this Ravens kind of like merchandise stuff on the sideline.
As opposed to Ivan Toney today.
As opposed to, yeah. And it was a fairly nothing game. I mean, at the half, Baltimore winning 10-3 because they scored 10 in the second quarter. Pittsburgh pulled another field goal back in the third. And it was only like in the literal last play of the game where Kenny Pickett just became Captain Clutch, did his best Brady impression. And yeah. And you know, his play for Harris was just absolutely insane. And because he's got his touchdown as well. Yeah, I'm not convinced with the Ravens. I'm really not. I don't think they're very good, and there's so much distraction with Lamar that I think that 10-6 record is fairly deceptive, considering that divisionally they're 5-3. I don't know. There's something amiss about that team, and Pittsburgh are not a good team this year. I mean, there's a reason why they're 8-8. They are distinctively average at best. They're what the cool kids would call mid. And
so what we call it then, yeah?
Yeah, we'll call them mediocre because we speak properly. Yeah, I'm just not sold. It was a fairly nothing game, and then the Steelers pulled it out of the bag. Tyler Huntley threw for 130 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and Kenny Pickett, bless him, he's trying his hardest here. He threw for 168 yards with his 1 and only touchdown. Yeah, he got sacked twice with a rating of 86.7. Yeah.
The one thing I want to say is Mike Tomlin, even now, is still trying to keep that no negative record thing, and he could actually do it.
And make the playoffs. Results go his way. He could be in the playoffs.
Do you think Tomlin, though, like, if I'm being honest, Tomlin, I think he's past his sell-by date in Pittsburgh. I really do. Every coach has a shelf life, and I think the fact that he's still there, yes, he's got an 8-8 record, and who the Steelers got the last game? Like, who was their last game?
Bengals?
Yes. No, that's Ravens.
Okay, then they must have Browns.
Who they got?
It must be Browns.
They got the Browns last game of the season, so they probably will win that. Probably, I say 60-40 chance that they'll win that. I mean, the Browns could put on a game here. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But
interesting fact I've got: Najee Harris, last minute of fantasy football last year on the Monday Night Football, scores a touchdown. Last minute on Sunday Night Football, scores a touchdown in fantasy. Talk about fantasy, it looks like defending champions going to win back-to-back championships, unless a miracle happens tonight.
Needs 4 points from Josh Allen, I believe.
Our youngest contender, it needs Dawson knocked 11 points to finish third, which isn't bad for an 11-year-old who's sat there next to me and did the draft with me. So fair play to the two of them. Tonight's game, it is the battle for the number 1. I'm
gutted that I have work tomorrow, so I can't watch this.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's going to be a brilliant, brilliant game. It's either going to be...
Just before we start, is anyone changing their prediction? Because I'm sticking with Bills.
I'm going to go Bills. I'm sticking with Bills.
I'm sticking with Bills. Bengals, sorry. Get it right. Yeah, I'm sticking with Bengals. Yeah, staying with Bengals. You know...
I think it will be.
I'm definitely staying with Bengals.
I think it'll be an absolute shootout.
Yeah, all day long is and how many times can Buffalo get to Joey Bowers is the main question. Is that although that O line is looking a little bit
Well,
left
I
the
mean,
last couple of weeks.
Against Von Miller? Oh, no, Von Miller's out, isn't he?
It was out, yeah.
Yeah, Von Miller's out, isn't he? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Predictions are on the bottom. I'm only put this up tonight because I've taken the lead. Woohoo! The only one with 3 out of 3.
You just sound like Mario then.
Only one who had faith with my England, with my New England.
Am I on 2? Am I on 2 at the moment?
You are 2 out of 2. Yeah.
2 out of 3.
Yep. So you all went for Miami, bar me. We all went to Seattle. The newbies went for Vikes. Me and you went for Green Bay. I'm the only one who's gone for Bengals.
Yeah, so you're going to end up 3 out of 4.
Nah, be 4 out of 4. Be 4 out of 4, and you know it.
Wishful thinking.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of tonight's show. We are back on Thursday at 8:30. Hopefully, Mr. Harris would have woken up by then. He's done a Marcus Rashford, so we're thinking of benching him for the game, for the show.
Bring him on for like the second half.
Yeah, bring him for the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. Happy New Year from the third and long, and good night.
Bye, guys.